Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society, if we swallowed hot men, would we turn into hot men? It's dangerous to go alone, so the Nintendo Cartridge Society goes with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers, and I am joined, as I am always joined, by my co-host, Mark Mitchell. We've got a good show for you today. We're going to be talking about the news from the week, including what's inside Kirby, and then on Thursday, we're going to be talking Tears of the Kingdom and our favorite Zelda reveals of the past. But Mark, in the meantime, how's it going?
It's going great. It would be kind of cool if we were able to accurately describe Zelda reveals of the future.
Right. Well, we're also, since we are going to be talking about the video that is releasing this morning, we're sort of talking about Zelda reveals of the present as well. So that's why my brain was like,
oh yes, I see.
Like sort of stumbling over. Anyway, yeah, let's talk about Zelda reveals of the future. Spirit Tracks 2.
Exactly. The only downside is we won't no one will be able to appreciate how accurate we are.
Right. Until it happens.
Which could be decades and decades in the future.
It could. There's no expiration date on those predictions. But we're not going to do that. Mark, how are you? Are you doing okay?
Yeah, I am. I feel like I was actually thinking today when you came over and we alternate where we record, and I feel like whenever you come to my place, you're always like dressed so well, and I feel like
I'm wearing like a white athletic like hoodie and jeans. What do you mean I'm dressed well?
You just look put together, and I feel like previously when even though you were coming to my place, I would put on jeans,
right?
That's
gone out the window.
Trying to make it look like I wasn't now I'm just in my pajamas essentially.
Right.
That's just how I record.
Which is what you would have been doing when we were recording remotely.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't know. I think it's fine.
I'm gonna blame it on COVID.
Yeah, there you go. Still,
another Mark looking nice. Another casualty of COVID.
Mark, you always look nice.
Thank you, Patrick.
You're just not dressed particularly well. If you would like to support us, you can head on over to our Patreon, which is patreon.com/Nintendo Cartridge Society. You know how Patreon works. You can support us at the 4, 8, or 16-bit tier. If you are supporting us at the 8 or 16-bit tier, you can get access to our bonus episodes. It's a monthly bonus episode. Right now, we are working our way through a mini-series we're calling NCS Detective Club, where we are watching the great detective stories of television's past. So, this is also from the past, not from television's future. We are about to put out an episode all about the series Psych. It's very fun, and I'm looking forward to people hearing our reactions to a handful of those episodes.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you don't have to be in the Patreon if you want to hop in our Discord. You can get in Discord. All you got to do is email us at nintendocartridgesociety@gmail.com. And we will invite you, and you can be in there talking about Nintendo stuff. I can count on that Discord to be popping off tomorrow during this Zelda thing. So get in there and have some good conversations with some fun people. Also, if you're looking to squad up in Pikmin Bloom, we're all getting together. We're fighting mushrooms and going on walks together. It's beautiful.
Making Miyamoto proud.
That's right. Mark, I believe you have a debug.
Oh, yes, I do. So last week...
You're trying to dance around not doing this.
All right, so last week we were talking about Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, which Patrick picked up for the Nintendo Switch, having previously owned it for the Wii U. And we were trying to figure out what is the deal with Funky Mode.
What's the deal? That's it. Starting a Seinfeld impression and then stopping.
And part of the confusion was I played it in 2018 when it came out on Switch, and I couldn't remember what exactly Funky Mode entailed because I remembered having extra hearts, but I also remembered playing as Donkey Kong. but we did a little research, and we now know what the deal is.
Yes.
So, in Funky mode, you play as Funky Kong by default.
But you can choose at the beginning of a level at any time.
Ugh.
You can choose at some juncture.
Yeah.
to play as Donkey Kong and recruit his companions.
Right. So if you're in Funky mode, by default you play as Funky Kong. You get 5 hearts. There's no companions, so Funky Kong kind of has like the moveset of all the companions.
But also kind of a moveset that is none of them.
That is his own.
Yeah.
And then, but also you can choose to play as Donkey Kong plus like the partner Kongs like in the regular game, so no Funky. But doing this in Funky mode gives an extra heart to Donkey Kong, so you have 3 instead of 2 that was in the Wii U version, and an extra to his companion Kong, so 3 versus 2 for a total of 6 hearts. And this is how I played.
So you played in Funky mode without Funky.
Yeah, I must have, because I had the extra hearts.
Another thing that Funky Kong has, so like he has a little bit of like a double jump, and it can also like kind of drift down slowly as he falls. But if you don't have momentum as you're drifting down, he really like you're sort of doomed with a bad jump. But so he's got the surfboard, so he can also land on spikes without getting hurt. And when he's underwater, he doesn't need air.
Oh.
Like that air meter goes away. He just has like a scuba mask. Even though scuba wouldn't help him breathe underwater. There's no air gauge. I was playing a little more of maybe we should just get into what we've been playing this week, and I can talk about it in the appropriate segment. Yeah?
Yeah, let's do it.
First, of course, update on my Tetris 99 ticket.
Dun 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 dun.
689.
Very nice.
Gonna cross that 700 threshold. That's very exciting. So I continue to play through Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, and that oxygen meter actually sort of annoying. Like I wish that I didn't have to hurry through those underwater, because the game is so about like exploring and like getting through like every little nook and cranny, that it kind of bums me out that there are parts of the game where it's like, no, you have to swim faster or you're gonna run out of air.
Those water levels, to my memory, some of them are also like really beautiful because they do the sort of like sunset heavy, like
iPod commercial.
Yes, like backlit, so everything is silhouettes. But they do it underwater in Tropical Freeze, and they are
like
so good looking.
And you do like a little spin move by some bioluminescent fish, and it like lights it up all normal, so like it's going back and forth between the two different graphic styles. It is beautiful stuff.
So what did you end up settling on? Are you just making your way through on the normal mode?
Yeah, just normal mode. I did go into Funky mode to confirm our findings from last week, and also just like get the feel for how Funky Kong controls.
Yeah,
and I don't really like playing as Funky. I mean, I think it's funny, of course, and it's funny to like see him like when the other Kongs appear in the stage, they like do a little thing, and he's like so cool. I like seeing Funky Kong. I just don't really want to. I don't like his moveset that much.
Does it feel weird to you that we only got 2 games in the like Donkey Kong Country Returns style from Retro?
Yeah. That is a little strange. Although I was thinking about it today, and Nintendo has a thing for duologies. That there are like frequently pairs of games, and I was thinking about it in terms of Tears of the Kingdom. Like that's going to be the second game in the like Breath of the Wild like series, but there's not going to be a third, right? It just like Majora's Mask is the direct sequel to Ocarina of Time, but there's no third. Super Mario Brothers 3 and Super Mario World, that's sort of a duology. There's not really a third in that series. And I feel like that sort of thing appears a lot in Nintendo.
Man, what comes after? I know it's early. Tears of the Kingdom isn't even out yet.
Yeah.
But it boggles the mind to think what is after Tears of the Kingdom.
We're going back to 8-bit. Or Zelda in space. Oh, we're not supposed to be making predictions.
Well, I continue to make my way through Metroid Fusion,
Yeah.
and still enjoying it a lot. One thing that is interesting, and it's been so long since I played this game, is you get like new power-ups and all that kind of stuff.
Uh-huh.
Like they're restored to you in the game, but maybe because I don't have a manual to reference, and maybe that's just how Metroid Fusion is, because Metroid Dread is kind of this way. Like, it, how to use those powers to their full extent is never explained to you.
Yeah, sure.
It's just kind of like, hey, do you remember how you could wall jump in Metroid, in like Super Metroid? Well, you can kind of do it here. And maybe it's in the manual, but there were areas where I'm like, well, I know I have to be able to get up here, but I can't for the life of me figure out how to like wall jump this. And the controls are a little different from Super Metroid.
Yeah, that's right.
So
Well, and you need to have like those little handholds to do it, right?
no, so I mean there are the little handhold
Don't
sections,
remember.
but then there's also, once you get to the super jump, like you can, just kind of, if you have two and they have to be close together, like really close together, then you can kind of like bounce off the walls that don't have them. But that's never it's never like explained to you in the game. And so it was just like I yeah, you just have to kind of be like, well, I guess I'll try doing this.
Right. Well, and that's like, there's a lot of that in Super Metroid as well, that there are just like little things or like advanced techniques that you can learn. Like the thing where you can refill your health with a power bomb. Like, that's a strange like thing to execute.
Yeah, that's true. I do feel like those Metroid games are never like, they never go into detail on how to like maximize your moveset, like everything you can do. But yeah, it's just been still enjoying Fusion. The game is just really it's fun to go back to it because my memories of it are so hazy.
Yeah.
And it is so optimized for handheld play in that it is so like bite-sized chunks. Because you're directed to different sectors on a space station, and it's pretty guarded and gated, and so it does an interesting job of splitting the difference between being a Super Metroid-esque game and having an area for you to explore, but also doing it in these discrete areas that are like splitting the difference between super linear and having like an area for you to explore.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's successful, sometimes it's not. It's a really interesting and fun game.
So let's continue talking about what we've been playing, and then talk about things we will be playing almost certainly in the near future. I'm continuing to play Pikmin Bloom, and I mentioned it up top, but teaming up with people in the Discord and with our friends has been super fun, and just a fun way to plant flowers together, and go work towards step goals together, and it's just been a nice way to kind of stay active. And then I know the DLC has not yet come to consoles, but I'm back on Shovel Knight Dig.
Just the news of
the DLC
it got you back into it.
Drew me back into it, and I was like, I'll just play I was really just like, oh, I should make sure it's on because I had stopped playing before I got the OLED, and so I downloaded it to the OLED. I was like, just so I'm ready when the DLC does come out. I was like, oh, I'll just do one run, and I'm back on it, Mark. I don't know what to tell you. It is such a comfort game for me, that it's back in my life.
Amazing. Well, I didn't make it as far into Fusion as I planned to this weekend, because I ended up doing a last minute run of the Nintendo 3DS eShop before it shut down for good, just to see if there was anything left in there that I hadn't picked up from the last time I did a last minute run of the 3DS eShop.
And we are now in the world where the eShop is closed. I don't know if you checked it out. Since the closure, it's all it has is all of the folders or categories are gone, and there's just the Nintendo Selects is still in there. And then you can go in, but every single one of them, it says the software is not available.
Yes, strange experience. Still, just a reminder that you are able to re-download at this point, but you just can't make any new purchases.
No new purchases
at all. So what I ended up picking up was Donkey Kong Land, Donkey Kong Land 2, and Donkey Kong Land 3. And I feel like I had played some of Donkey Kong Land, if not all of Donkey Kong Land, using my cousin's cartridge. And so I started playing it again, and what a weird, not necessarily fun game. Because it has a lot of the visual trappings of Donkey Kong Country, using those like pre-rendered sprite type things. But they can't have Donkey Kong and Diddy on the screen at the same time. So when you get like a DK barrel, they appear on the screen in this kind of like whirlwind thing. I can't tell if they're like it seems like they have like their arms like folded or whatever, and they're like spinning up into it, like they're an apparition coming out of the afterlife.
Sure. You're summoning the ghost of Diddy Kong.
But just because like the screen real estate is so small and the physics just don't feel right, it's just kind of like a crunchy experience.
But even still, you picked up all 3 of these games.
I did. I picked up all 3 because who knows? It just felt like
sure,
a final opportunity. Who knows when they'll show up on? And maybe we'll do a Donkey Kong month sometime in the future.
Sure.
And I'll want to have access to them somehow. I also picked up Harmonite, which is a game released by Game Freak, the developers of the Pokemon games, and it's like a rhythm action platformer that my only really like point of reference to it previously was I think Harmonite was like a spirit or something in Super Smash Bros.
Oh, that
Ultimate,
makes sense, yeah.
And had at least one amazing music track. And so I'm excited to check that out sometime in the future. The other ones I picked up, I had never even heard of, but they were on 2 separate lists of things you should pick up on the 3DS eShop before it closes. So I was like, oh, what the heck? So they're both from this program that Level 5 did maybe back in like 10 years ago. I think both were released in 2013, called Level 5 Guild. And it was basically it was like a game jam. They got a bunch of like game developers together to make these 3DS eShop exclusive games. And so one that I picked up is the Starship Damri, which is like a survival horror game that explicitly says it has no tutorial and no instructions. And so it's all about just like experimentation and figuring it out. And then the other one, also the setting, I'm just a sucker for like, survival horror game on a space station.
Yeah, of course.
I totally want that. Then the other one I know even less about, and it's Attack of the Friday Monsters, A Tokyo Tale. And I basically know nothing about it.
Sounds like a kaiju game.
I think a kaiju is involved. But you play as like a kid, and it is set in like Japan in the 70s, and it was recommended like if you like that sort of, like pastoral setting of Studio Ghibli, that it is a game that would be up your alley. So I picked it up.
I think those are very interesting, and now if I want to play them, I have to play them on your 3DS. I did some last minute pickups myself on the 3DS. I picked up the 2nd and 3rd Box Boy games, Box Boy and Bye Bye Box Boy, because it turns out I only had the first one on my 3DS. I also grabbed I can assume that it's going to come to the Game Boy Nintendo Switch Online at some point, but I went ahead and picked up Donkey Kong 94 anyway.
That was actually the impetus for me turning on my Nintendo 3DS. Was because I thought I had bought it previously, but couldn't remember.
Yeah. And
I wanted to make sure I had it.
It's got to be coming to the Nintendo Switch Online, though, right?
It does feel inevitable.
Then I also picked up Pushmo.
What is Pushmo?
Pushmo is I picked up Pushmo here, and I picked up Pushmo World on the Wii U. And Pushmo is like a puzzle game where you play as this little like sumo dude, and you push and pull platforms, and they're just like little puzzles, discrete little puzzles, where like it's like vertical climbing puzzles. You have to get to the very top, and your only tools are like pulling these platforms like out and like pushing them back in. So it's a very limited move set, but it's one of those things that quickly reveals itself to be a very deep like puzzle platform.
It was recommended also on multiple lists that I saw, but I set myself a $50 limit. You know, I went into my Switch, added $50 to the 3D, to my
and then
wallet,
just
and
went
was like,
for it.
that's the limit of what I'm going to spend.
I set no such limit. I also picked up the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney trilogy.
On Wii U or on 3DS?
On 3DS. It was $3 for the trilogy.
Beautiful.
That's a bucket game.
That's amazing.
And then on the Wii U, I went ahead and picked up the 2 Zelda games, Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks, because I was like, when am I gonna?
Yeah.
When are these gonna be available
Genuinely,
again?
the opposite of like Donkey Kong 94. It's like, I don't know the next time we're gonna
Right.
have access to
Right.
those.
And could I pick up like carts of that? Probably, but I bet they're super expensive. These were $10 a piece. And then I also grabbed Duck Hunt on the Wii U, which has like Wii Mote controls.
Oh, is it the version that was released on like the Wii?
I think it was only released on the Wii U. I don't think it was actually. But yeah, so it uses the Wii remote as a pointer. But that's I spent a little bit of time and a little bit of money to just fill out those libraries, and now that's it. Whatever choices you made, those are the choices. It's done. You can't buy anymore.
Yeah.
In some ways, it's liberating to be in a place where I'm like, okay, all right, that's done. Like I can't buy those games anymore. And then I also had like a moment immediately afterwards. I was like, was I too like excited to just like buy stuff for the sake of buying it? Like you supported me just now in like Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks, but I was like,
No, I totally get what you're saying because it's like, when am I gonna play these games?
When am I gonna play these games?
Yeah, totally.
And especially something on the Wii U where it's like when I'm gonna have like the top screen on the TV and the bottom screen on the Wii gamepad in my lap. Like, I mean, that's weird.
But at least you have the opportunity.
I have the opportunity.
Yeah.
All right, Mark. That's what we've been playing this week. Let's get into the new releases and what we might be playing next week.
Today, Tuesday, March 28th, MLB The Show 23 is released on Switch.
Yeah, the MLB games, the show games, still just coming out on Switch.
Yeah. I still wish that we didn't see as much marketing for it, or at least it wasn't in like a Nintendo Direct or anything like it was last year.
We didn't see that weird puppet guy.
No, and the weird puppet guy is like my
coach.
Coach.
That's right.
Or coach.
I think it's coach. Yeah.
That is so great. But yes, we haven't seen coach since. At least not in a Nintendo Direct. But that's on Thursday, March 30th. Arcade Archives Navarone is released.
Also a game called Infinite Guitars. All right, Mark, let's get out of the new releases. Which brings us to a regular segment on our show. It is time for 433. In 1952, American composer John Cage wrote a piece called 433, wherein a performer or group of performers didn't play their instruments for 4 minutes and 33 seconds. For the purposes of this show, our instruments are talking about Nintendo. So, for the duration of one performance of 433, Mark and I will talk about something not at all Nintendo related, thus fulfilling the contract of the piece. Mark, you have posed a question here. Will you please give us the question?
Yes. Today we're going to be discussing which historical figures do you think you could beat in an arm wrestling match?
So, pretty broad, wide open question. Historical figures we could beat in an arm wrestling match. Mark, I've discovered randomlist.com/random-people. We can just have it generate 8 random celebrities for us.
Oh, clutch. That's perfect.
Some of them are historical figures. Some of them are modern day celebrities. But so here we go. I'm going to randomly pick 8 people. Okay, starting from the bottom of the list, Pablo Picasso.
Man, I don't know. My gut says yes.
Because, like, do you think of him as like an old man painting? Because he definitely went through like a scrappy young artist phase.
Yeah,
where,
that's
like,
true.
He had a lot to prove.
And part of that was proving that he could beat me in an arm wrestling match. Is
I
that
don't
what you're saying?
Maybe not. I mean, he's probably too sad. I bet you could beat him.
Wait, what about you? Pablo Picasso?
Oh, yeah, I could take him.
Okay, all right, great.
Next up, Kate Moss.
Yes? I think probably.
I don't know. Like, actresses need to, like, work out. I bet she's strong.
I'm not saying she's not strong.
I bet she could beat you in an arm wrestling contest.
Me? Well, what about you?
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
All right, number 6, Carl Sagan. Carl Sagan.
I'm pretty sure I could take Carl Sagan.
I think you probably could too. He's wearing in the picture that they're using here. He's wearing that like maroon turtleneck. So, like, close your eyes and picture Carl Sagan. That's what he's wearing.
Yeah, it's
perfect.
I think you could take him as well.
Yeah, I think so too. Number 5, Tina Fey.
I don't know.
I think she wants it more. All right. Yeah, no, I think Tina Fey is going to beat me.
Yeah, I think Tina Fey would beat me.
Number 4, Voltaire.
Oh, I think
You can definitely take Voltaire.
I just kind of feel like anyone in the like 1700s or before.
Yeah.
There's a fair chance.
I mean,
just nutrition wise,
yes,
I'm in better shape.
That's right. You're definitely taller.
Yeah.
And he's
have more of my original teeth.
Yeah, and he's wearing a powdered wig, so like that's gonna throw off his balance, right? All right. Next up, Maria Sharapova.
No way.
No, she's destroying us. Yeah. All right, and then number 2, Winston Churchill, who comes up in these a lot. I noticed, by the way. Winston Churchill, like a stout, heavy guy.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think Winston Churchill is going to win.
Yeah. And then number 1 on our list here is Che Guevara. I think he's destroying.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've got
no
more
chance.
time. Should I do another
let's do
randomize
another
some more?
list.
Okay, here we go. Eleanor Roosevelt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like probably
I'm pretty sure I
could.
could probably take Eleanor Roosevelt.
Edgar Allan Poe, no question.
I'm
beating him.
Oh, yeah.
Are you kidding?
Mm-hmm.
It'll be over in a second. Number 6, Ulysses S. Grant.
No, lose.
Yeah, absolutely would lose. Number 5, and this one is interesting because I think we have to pick like when in this person's life. Daniel Radcliffe.
Oh.
Because like now Daniel Radcliffe would destroy us.
Yes. Yeah.
Did you see the movie The Lost City?
No.
It's the Sandra Bullock,
Channing
Tatum, like action comedy. Daniel Radcliffe is the bad guy in it, and he is ripped. And he's ripped in the Weird Al movie too, where you're like, why are you so strong? What's happening, Daniel Radcliffe?
Yeah, no to Daniel Radcliffe. Probably yes in like Chamber of Secrets.
Yeah, when he was 11.
Yeah, when he was 11, I think I could take him.
This next one doesn't seem fair. Stephen Hawking.
I think I would beat him.
Those are just the arm wrestling. Yep. Number 3 here, Alexander the Great.
I'm gonna say no. He
of
rides too much horseback.
Definitely. What was a warrior? Like what chance do we stand against a warrior? Number 2, LeBron James. We lose.
Totally. Yep.
Number 1, Chief Sitting Bull. I think we lose there as well.
Yeah. For sure.
Man, 4 minutes and 33 seconds just keeps going. Let's do one more. So there's a lot of repeats here. Daniel Radcliffe is number 8 again. Number 7, James Earl Jones.
No, I don't think so. I don't think.
Not even now?
No.
He's 92 years old now.
Okay. Yeah, maybe now.
Yeah. I don't like the rest of these. There's a lot of repeats here. Steven Spielberg. Do you think you could beat Steven Spielberg in an arm wrestling contest?
I do.
So now certainly.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You think like he's making Jaws?
Yeah, a fair shot. I think
Yeah.
I have a
Okay.
fair
Like
shot.
50-50.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough. All right. There we go. We were accompanied today by an ensemble at the Musical Instrument Museum in Phoenix. All right, Mark. Let's get into the news.
Hey, you may have heard, but this morning at 7 a.m. Pacific time, Nintendo premiered approximately 10 minutes of The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
Or will premiere people listen to this before 7 o'clock.
That's true.
Pacific
Gameplay
time
footage.
Yep.
They tweeted the announcement yesterday, and we'll talk about it on Thursday's episode.
Yeah, there's really no point in speculating because it already happened likely by the time people are listening. Are you getting up for it? Are you going to watch it live, Mark? What's your plan
I don't know, actually. I hadn't thought about it. Yeah, I probably will.
Seven's not so early. What
Yeah.
do you make of that time? Because it's not like usually these things are like 6 o'clock or it's like later in the morning. But 7 is right in that like kind of weird. It's not as like it's not first thing in the morning. I feel like Nintendo just has no pattern because we've never.
No, I think so. I think so too.
This is a bizarre. It's not a direct. It's not a.
Yeah, it's just 10 minutes of gameplay footage.
Yeah.
Presented by AJ Onuma.
So, here we go.
Maybe seven, but maybe you're right. Maybe 7 a.m. Pacific time, and whatever that translates to like Japan and the rest of the world, means something, is meaningful to Tears of the Kingdom.
Maybe it will be. We don't know. We don't know what Tears. I do think, and again, there's no point in speculating, but I do think that there is so much we don't know about this game.
Yeah.
And there is a big opportunity to reveal stuff that we had not even considered regarding this game's structure or what it plays like moment to moment. So I'm very excited about this.
Yeah, 10 minutes doesn't seem like a lot, but could be a very revealing 10 minutes. Here's something that is also unknowable. What is E3 anymore at this point? So we already know that Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony, and I think EA have all previously announced that they wouldn't be participating. Now, Ubisoft, after previously saying that they were attending, are like, never mind. We're not going to be at E3.
Didn't Yves Guillemot say, like, as long as there is an E3, we'll be at it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
they will not be at this E3.
They are not going to be at E3.
Right.
But they did announce that they are going to hold a presentation in LA in the same time frame that, like, the press conferences at E3 normally would happen. So, Ubisoft is going to be doing a presentation, an Ubisoft Forward live event on June 12th in Los Angeles. So that's the Monday before E3 kicks off, which is on the 13th.
Was that traditionally Sony's spot?
Well, so Sony would usually have a presentation on Monday, but like the publishers would fill in those times as well. Yeah. So like I can't remember where Ubisoft did in like 2019 when they presented in 2019. It could have been Monday. So yeah, so here's what Ubisoft's statement reads. It says, quote, E3 has fostered unforgettable moments across the industry throughout the years. While we initially intended to have an official E3 presence, we've made the subsequent decision to move in a different direction, and we will be holding a Ubisoft Forward live event on 12th June in Los Angeles. We look forward to sharing more details with our players very soon.
By the way, E3 is 2.5 months away. Like, it's would have any major publishers been confirmed at this point? Then
I don't think so.
Okay.
So yeah, it's just E3 was dead, and then we were like, oh, E3 is back, and now it's just really hard to know what E3 is going to be.
Yeah. Do you think that this time next year we'll be looking forward to another E3, or will that
I
be
really wonder. Yeah, I really wonder.
What do you think? What do you think? Like ReedPop signs up for when they're like, we're gonna take over E3. Do they just have a 1-year commitment?
Who knows? Maybe it's like a 1-year commitment with like an option for additional ones, or maybe it's a multi-year commitment that has like an out after a certain amount of time.
Sure, that they could like take a penalty and get out earlier.
But yeah, I mean, look, honestly, I feel like I have no sense of what E3 is going to be, but I hope that it's successful, and I hope that like if it turns into a fan event or something like that, like I think it would be cool for E3 to continue in some successful form, even if it's not what we knew it as before.
Yeah, true. And we're not here to dance on its grave, certainly. But yeah, it does seem like what we are witnessing is its grave.
Yes, yeah.
Are we also dancing?
Not on top.
Not on top.
To the side.
Or are we human?
We're If you cut us, do we not bleed?
Mm-hmm.
If E3 isn't successful, do we not dance? Samba de Amigo, Party Central, the maraca.
There you go.
I was
not
saying
a Macarena.
Yeah. The maraca shaking rhythm game from Sega was revealed in the February Nintendo Direct to be coming to Switch this summer. And, since Sonic Forces, I think we talked about it last week, but since Sonic Forces is woven deeply into the fabric of this show, I feel duty-bound to report that the song Fist Bump from Sonic Forces will be included as a playable track in the game.
I couldn't tell you what that is.
Nope. Plus, Escape from the City from Sonic Adventure 2 will be in it as well.
I could tell you what that is. That song's a banger.
This is a mere footnote to our interest, since this podcast never had a Sonic Adventure 2 borrowing program, a program that would no doubt be imperfect if it did exist.
Wow, Mark coming out strong against Sonic Adventure 2.
Also, Sonic himself will appear in the game. And
does he hold maracas, or is he just present?
Maybe he just holds Macarenas.
I don't. Sonic the Hedgehog doing the Macarena, that is a 1998 image if I've ever
I
conjured
feel like
one.
it had to have happened at
It
some point.
must
Some
have,
trade
yes.
show, some child's
Yes.
birthday party.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, speaking of Sonic, a new version of Sonic Origins was announced. Sonic Origins Plus is coming to Switch and other platforms on June 23rd. It's the expanded collection includes Sonic 1, 2, 3, and Knuckles, Sonic CD, and 12 Game Gear Sonic games.
12, Mark. 12?
That's a lot
Game
of
Gear
Game
Sonic
Gear Sonic
games.
games. Also, Amy Rose will be playable in 1, 2, 3, and Knuckles and CD.
Which is also nuts.
Also, all previously released add-on content is also included in this collection.
So this sort of feels like a make good for the bizarre release of Sonic Origins last year, where there were like these charts of like what comes in each versions of it, and now it's like, no, you know what? Here's everything plus 12 Game Gear games. A lot of these Game Gear games were on the 3DS eShop. I wonder if there is a relationship between like if they had some exclusivity like licensed to Nintendo and the 3DS eShop until that went down. And they were like, hey, we just got a warehouse full of Game Gear games. We can spice up the package of Sonic Origins. Mark, 12 extra games are on this.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
HAL Laboratory Executive Director Shinya Kumazaki and Director Tatsuya Kamiyama were in San Francisco last week for the Game Developers Conference. They did a presentation at the Game Developers Conference talking about Kirby and the development of Kirby and the Forgotten Land, and which is celebrating its 1-year anniversary, crazy enough. Like
wild.
It's been a year since Forgotten Land. Apparently,
which means a year since Kirby Month as well.
Yeah, that's right. A year since Kirby Month came to a close.
Wow. So a year since we discovered Kirby
Block Ball.
Kirby's Block Ball. Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you for rescuing me. I couldn't remember the name of the game.
Truly deepening our love
Yes.
of Kirby in the process. Yeah, but they apparently the presentation that they did was just like packed to the rafters.
Yeah.
There were pictures of people like the queue being just incredible, like they were queuing on top of the roof of the presentation hall to fit people in.
People like Kirby.
But while they were in San Francisco, Polygon had the opportunity to interview them and took the chance to ask them some burning questions we all have on Kirby's physiology. And I just pulled a couple from or some of these from the interview, but the entire thing is delightful and worth reading. So Polygon asks, will or could Kirby ever fall in love? And this is Shinya Kumazaki's response. I feel like Kirby is a neutral character. It's really the player's emotion that gets displayed and realized on the other side of the screen. I think that's what makes Kirby unique. Because of that, we try not to have Kirby express emotions that might not be felt by the player, extreme emotions like anger or crying. With that said, if within the story there's a sequence where the player might feel like they're falling in love with someone, if that's the experience we design, then I don't think it's impossible to have Kirby's eyes turn into hearts, or maybe Kirby is blushing. I don't think that's outside the realm of possibility. With that said, we haven't had a title in the series that focused on falling in love. For me personally, I hope Kirby remains the kind of character who take things as they come. And then Tatsuya Kamiyama adds, but what I can say is what Kirby does love is delicious food.
Again, not feeling anything that is not felt by the player.
I love
right?
everything about both of these answers. I love that Kumazaki ends his by saying, I hope Kirby remains the kind of character who takes things as they come, which I had never considered before, but is absolutely how Kirby reacts to every situation.
Yeah, that's true. It's because Kirby is relatively inactive until the world is acting upon him, right?
Seemingly, I don't think Kirby has a lot of like planning. Kirby doesn't seem one for a 401k to me.
No,
you know
no,
what I
no.
mean? He's not worried about
sleeps.
tomorrow.
He just sleeps.
Mm-hmm. And Polygon also asked, if you cut open Kirby, what would the inside look like? And Kumazaki is prepared, and he says, dreams. Filled with dreams.
Wow.
Of course, we want to keep a mysterious side to Kirby, so I'll say we will keep it a mystery.
So you cut Kirby open and there are dreams inside? And he lives in Dreamland.
It's unknowable.
Yeah.
Polygon continues, what happens to the creatures Kirby swallows and where do they go? Kumazaki. because the base world is a fantasy world, it's not like they get swallowed and digested inside of Kirby, because that might be jarring, and because we made the game to be approachable, having that kind of extreme or violent expression might negate making the game so approachable. Instead, we have this comical, funny depiction where the enemies poof. When an enemy or creature gets swallowed by Kirby, they may disappear, but they do resurface somewhere else in the world.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So he's like teleporting everything that he swallows to elsewhere in the world?
Uh-huh. It's like, yeah. Yes.
Okay. All right. I mean, that's good to know. It's these
it's
questions...
like a Star Trek transporter inside of Kirby.
Yeah. It's I am normally like sort of against asking these questions because like Kirby is unknowable, like you say. But now that we understand a deeper piece of Kirby's mythology that he's transporting creatures all around the globe, I think that's pretty cool.
I like that. I like to think that Polygon is asking these questions and that they don't even hesitate because they're like, oh yeah, we've thought about this.
Yeah, I like that
like,
too.
We absolutely know answers to these questions.
I mean, further, I like that Polygon like came prepared with these questions.
And okay, this one requires a little bit of setup. So during the presentation that they did about Kirby and about the development of Kirby and the Forgotten Land, they showed some like slides, and one of those slides had Kirby like picturing like a superhero that is kind of like what Kirby would think of when he thinks of himself as a hero.
Sure.
And one of the images is like Kirby with like stars and like starry-eyed looking, and a superhero look like Superman like looking guy behind him, except it has like a Kirby star on his chest.
And he's got pink hair and like yellow armbands, and yeah, like it's a very Kirbified like classic Superman-esque superhero.
Yes. And so Polygon asks, and this is an abbreviated form of the question, basically, if Kirby swallowed a hot man,
yes,
would he turn into a hot man? And again, Kumazaki prepared with an answer. I think your friend, and again, this is part of the question that I cut out, but I think your friend might have noticed the muscles and power the images depicted. I think Kirby's ability would be if he swallowed like a hot man, I think Kirby's ability would be in line with that, and he'd probably have a hat associated with it, but his face would not turn into Hot Kirby.
So that's a real problem. How do we achieve Hot Kirby?
Yeah.
And next time we're casting something, like I think we have to remember, Hot Kirby is out there. Hot Kirby can't hurt you, but he is out there.
That's right. And finally, we got some details and a release date for Wave 4 of the Fire Emblem Engage Expansion Pass DLC, the Fell Xenologue story content.
Thank you, Mark, for I added this one late in the game here because it was revealed pretty early last week. But I'm very excited about this. It comes out on April 4th, which is very soon. Kind of crazy that the game came out in February and all
January.
Oh, yeah, January, that's right. And all 4 waves will be out by the first week of April.
Yeah, wait. So this is it. This is
it.
The complete expansion pass.
Yeah.
That is wild.
So this...
What's the hurry?
But they just want to get it out. I mean, because they held Engage for like a year, just like waiting for an opportune time to publish it. So... yeah, I assume that all of the DLC content was well done by the time they pushed the game out in the first place. But so it tells a new story in a parallel reality that it's accessible after you finish Chapter 6, which is also, I believe, the threshold that you need to get through before accessing any of the waves of DLC. It looks like you are going into a parallel world where there are good versions of the Hounds. The Hounds are like the main bad guys that are like working with the Fell Dragon. But here they're called the Four Winds, and they're your allies.
Huh.
So like there's a character named Zephia, who in this, her name is like... it's different. All of their names are just like a little bit different. And they're just like a touch nicer. They still have like a weird like BDSM sort of like theming to them, but like with just like fewer piercings and like less face paint. So I'm very excited to recruit them, and it looks like you're fighting like evil versions of your allies from the main game. There are also new classes in there: Enchanter and Mage Cannoneer, I guess. And then you team up with some dragon twins and collect 7 emblem bracelets. It's unclear to me if these are new emblems or if they're just like recycling emblems from either the other waves of DLC or something else. There are times when in the video where they announce this, where you see the your former allies that you are now battling, and it's them, and it usually says like the character's name and then the emblem that they're carrying. They're doing that, except it's question mark, question mark, question mark. So I don't know if these are going to be what these new emblems are. If there are 7 like crazy new emblems from other Fire Emblem games, if they're dipping into Codename Steam, maybe John Henry is one of the the emblems we're going to be invoking here. I don't know, Mark. I don't know. I'm very interested to find out. When you finish the story, you can bring your allies back into the main game.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And that is, Mark, are you gonna check it out?
No, I haven't touched Engage for weeks and weeks and weeks now.
It has been a week that during which I have not touched Engage, and part of that is that we had a busy weekend on preparing NCS Detective Club. But I'm eager to get back to it, and I want to get a little bit further in the story before I distract myself with yet another paralogue or a Fell Xenologue. All right, Mark, let's get out of the news. And that is going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Patrick_Ehlers. Mark's at MK Mitchell, and the show is at NinCart Society. We also have a Discord. You should email us and get in there. The email address is nintendocartridgesociety@gmail.com. Anthony DeLuca made our logo. Our theme music is provided by Apipetty. You can get more of his music by going to apipetty.com or by listening right now. For my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Ehlers saying thank you for listening.